Good evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted, bringing to the news on George Stories. I am Oyi Okbala. Let's begin. In a country long scarred by injustice and marginalization, the recent gathering of traditional rulers in Yaoundé to pledge allegiance to French Cameroon's long-serving president has ignited a fresh wave of outrage across southern Cameroon. For many Ambazonians, this spectacle is not merely a political gesture. It is a profound betrayal of essential values and a painful reminder of the systemic oppression that has plagued the countries for decades. These symbolic alliances, often orchestrated for the optics of national unity, fails to mask the deep-rooted political stagnation and cultural erasure experienced by the people of southern Cameroon. While the regime seeks to project stability through such endorsements, the reality on the ground tells a different story, one of resistance, resilience, and the unyielding desire for self-determination. In light of recent misinformation circulating about security restrictions, the government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon in exile issues this vital clarification. There will be no lockdown tomorrow, Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. This official communication is intended to reassure all Ambazonians and the international community that freedom of movement, trade, and daily activity will be unhindered. Citizens across the territory are free to go about their normal routines without fear of restriction. This movement is not one of silence or retreat. There is one of affirmation. A right to live, a right to work, and work in freedom remains non-negotiable. This is for the Ambazonians. Right, when we return right after this break, we'll go straight to the prime headlines. Here are the prime headlines. Clarification on October 21st. Of course, there is no lockdown, says the government of Ambazonia. The President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ikamisako, appoints new Vice President, Mr. Steve Neba-Fuh. Also, tension in New Douala as Ambazonians become spectators amidst nationwide unrest in La Republique du Cameroun. Also tonight, Fons rally behind long-term leader, sparking outrage among youths and critics as well. Namibia confirms first Mpox case, declares outbreak amidst regional surge. On the foreign scene, Trump eyes strategic expansion of U.S. influence in Africa amidst China and Russia competition. Now let's get the news in full difference. The government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon in exile wishes to inform the people of Ambazonia and the international community that there is no lockdown scheduled for Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. This official communication is scheduled to dispel misinformation and to provide clarity and reassurance to the Ambazonian people. Ambazonians across the territory are free to move, work, trade, and carry out their daily activities on Tuesday, tomorrow, without fear or hesitation. There will be no restriction of movement, and citizens are encouraged to go about their normal routines in full exercise of their freedom and rights. The government advises the population to remain vigilant against false narratives and propaganda being circulated by agents of La Republic de Cameroun and their paid online operatives and bloggers who are attempting to create fear and confusion. These tactics are paid of a broader disinformation campaign aimed at destabilizing the community and undermining the resilience of the Ambazonian people. Let it be known that this message reflects the official position of the government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon in exile. The government remains committed to the protection of the people and the promotion of peace, order, and the pursuit of collective aspiration for justice and self-determination. The people of Ambazonia are urged to disregard any unauthorized or contradictory announcements concerning a lockdown and instead rely only on verified channels of communication from the legitimate leadership of the Southern Cameroons. Right, before we get to meet Barrister Mbeseha, it should be noted that the resilience, courage, unity of Ambazonians in the face of adversity has been commended so far, as they are advised to continue to stay strong, to stay safe, and of course, stay free. Barrister Mbeseha.
Thank you for having me once more at the beginning of the week. If the government says there's no lockdown, it means there's something circulating outside there calling for a lockdown. And one must ask, who's asking for a lockdown and for what? We as a government, Southern Cameroon in exile, we've not asked for a lockdown because we have no reason for a lockdown. We've had 2 weeks, 3 weeks of lockdown right today. And so those people who are calling for lockdown, I think, they are bloggers, they are activists. That is, to say the least, bloggers, activists overreach. That's not their business. Not everybody will call for a lockdown for whatever reason they want. I watched somewhere else on social media, and some for lockdown claimed they were doing the lockdown to support a would-be President Issa Chiroma. Yes, there was election fraud in Cameroon. Cameroonians are protesting in their own different forms. They are not doing lockdowns. Why should an Ambazonian come and do a lockdown for their crisis? They are demonstrating. Can we take sympathy with them and demonstrate with them? Certainly not. Because experience has shown that if you go out of your house, just to stand out and say yes or no to either Chiroma or whoever, they will shoot you down and kill you. Demonstrations are going on in Garua, in Marawa, all those places in the north. There are disturbances. They have killed none of theirs. Why would you take out your life for theirs? Demonstrations are officially banned in Ambazonia. The consequence of disobedience is death. They shoot and kill you. Lockdowns, we chose them because they were the best way of showing our own support for our cause. Staying back home and being safe. So what is this lockdown for? Whoever is calling for it. It is totally not acceptable. It is illegal. It is irrelevant. No Ambazonian should dare obey such misconstrued instructions. Where they come from, wherever they're coming from, they are not to be respected. Don't respect any such things. If you choose to do it, you are doing your own. We say nobody's order any lockdown. We have so far maintained our Monday lockdowns. And if need be, if we want to add another day, it will come from the official sources. And so we don't recognize that thing called lockdown. Let everybody go around for their business the way they want. Over to you.
All right. Just to re-emphasize the communique, let's get the voice of Ambazonia, say it loud and clear so that the people can understand that this is from the government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
This is an official government announcement broadcasting from the voice of Ambazonia. Fellow Ambazonians, this is an official message from your government, the government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia in exile. There is no lockdown on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. We repeat, there is no lockdown on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Only the traditional country Sunday lockdown on Mondays remains in effect. On Tuesday, you are free to go about your daily activities without fear or hesitation. Do not listen to fake lockdown messages coming from La République du Cameroun, its bloggers or paid activists. They do not speak for Ambazonia. This is the time to reclaim your freedom to live, to work, and to move as free citizens of a free nation. Let the world see that Ambazonia stands firm, disciplined, and united under its lawful government in exile. Truth in resistance, clarity in crisis. This has been a message from the government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia in exile.
Away from that, in a significant development, President Dr. Samuel Mbeseha of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia announced the appointment of Mr. Steve Neba-Fuh as the new Vice President during his address to the nation on Saturday, October 18, 2025. In his address, President Sako highlighted Mr. Neba-Fuh's qualifications and commitment to the values of the Ambazonian people, expressing confidence that he will contribute effectively to the administration's objective and vision for the nation. The appointment comes at a crucial time for the Federal Republic of Ambazonia as it continues to navigate a complex political landscape. President Sako urged Ambazonians to support Mr. Neba-Fuh in his new role, emphasizing the importance of unity and collaboration in achieving the nation's goals during the time of the war. The announcement has been met with optimism from various sectors of government and Ambazonian communities, home and abroad, with many looking forward to Mr. Neba-Fuh's leadership and the positive impact it may have on the government's initiative. It is also worthy of note that Mr. Neba-Fuh has been the coordinator of Amba Peace Plan for 3 years. And I'm sure that Barrister Mbeseha, you are excited about these appointments, and you know Mr. Neba-Fuh and his qualities. I went through his portfolio and I saw that he's quite read and he's quite experienced, especially in the engineering world. And so he's not just anybody, he's fit for this role. We can see that he's mathematically fit for the role. And he's, when you talk about the engineering world, he's also fit for this role. Was there any other person you think that the president would have considered, in your thoughts?
Oh no, you can't ask me that question. There were too many people on the line. There were so many hopefuls. Steve Neba-Fuh won the game, not because he was the only one. No. He was appointed because he was the best of the best. And so am I very excited? I'm extremely excited for two reasons. His academic qualifications are there. Most of us have gone to school. Most of us have degrees. Degrees are not enough. Second reason, I think, which is most important for him, is that he's a young, vibrant young man. Very, very young in age, very active in his physical ability. If he landed in Boya today or in Bamenda, he would not talk. He would pick the gun himself and fight. And so that is the person we want. At my age, those are the young men, the young people who want to replace us. Those who will not just talk, they will do, they will act, they will do what is required. But again, This appointment marks the beginning of a new era. After we lost the last vice president by natural death, we've had that vacuum there for the past 6 months or so. And so filling that vacuum goes to bring closure to the loss of our vice president. Who will believe this one will look like him? He devoted his time. He devoted his life in on his dying bed, working for this revolution. And so while we say, may his soul rest in peace, we say, welcome, young one. Order to you. You are welcome to do more than what you are doing. Count on us. We'll give you all the support that you need, both physical, both moral, both, in fact, in prayers. Count on us. And so we can say President has made a good choice. It was his duty to do it. He allowed us to mourn enough. Time for mourning is over. Time for movement is present. The young man, as agile as he is, he has stronger legs. He has the intellect. We wish him the best until we get to Boya. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister. He has from the details here, he has been part of the Amba peace plan for about 3 years, and that is one very active and sensitive angle to the Ambazonians' fight for liberation. Do you think that the elevation from this point to being the vice president would also give him the opportunity to do more, or do you think that it might limit him from, because he's been handling this sector for quite a very long time? Do you think that he'll still be able to do this and more, or you think that the roles of the vice president will restrict him from doing some of these things that he has been handling so far? Because you know what it say about the strength of someone when it comes to job description.
No, I think what is important here is he has been in that position that you have mentioned for more than 2, 3, 4 years. But the most important thing is, how did he get there in the first place? If he's under that position, he must be a follower. He must be an active participant, an active executor of the Amba Peace Plan, which was born after the 2019 Berlin Conference. So he's an insider. He knows what is required. If he was involved in the Berlin Conference in 2019, and he has risen through the ranks on fire to be what he was doing to what he's doing now, or rather encourage him. His position as overseer over the program would be better instead of being worse. Because with the experience, he can now he can direct by giving instructions from the board. Instruction, he has mastered the master plan, Amba Peace Plan. He has mastered all that reform that we did in the process between 2017 and 2025. So he has everything with him. His sons are on the deploy. He is going to work, rather than saying that he lacks something. No. He brings an added instead of the chairman of the Amba Peace Plan or whatever title they gave there. They're looking at him now as the direct representative of the president, who has the president's ears, who has the president's confidence to execute whatever plan we have moving forward. So I think he's the best we can find. He's going to do more than what he has been doing, more effectively, because he's coming up from the top. His instructions are coming from the top now. But not just instructions from the top. By the time he gives instructions from the top, he has tested the ground. He has known what works on the ground before going up to give instructions. So we'll count on him, we'll rely on him. We think he will be up to the task. Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And moving on, the socio-political situation in La Republic de Cameroon has taken a dramatic turn, with Ambazonians seemingly adopting a cautious approach, watching events unfold from a distance. This development comes as no surprise given the 9-year-long war that has ravaged the Ambazonian communities, putting the people of Ambazonia against La Republique du Cameroun's government. In New Belle Douala, La Republique du Cameroun town, a sense of panic has gripped the residents following an incident involving a man in plain clothes carrying a firearm. Eyewitnesses' accounts suggest that the individual was shot by a driver who was also armed, triggering chaos in the area. The neighborhood, known for its dense population, is now in turmoil with uncertainty looming over its residents. For the Ambazonians, this situation may seem all too familiar. The ongoing war, which began in 2017, has claimed thousands of lives and displaced many more. The colonial government's response to the crisis has been met with criticisms, with many accusing it of being indifferent to the plight of the Ambazonian population. The Ambazonian movement, which seeks independence for the Ambazonian people, has been marked by guerrilla attacks, kidnappings, and other forms of violence. The colonial government's efforts to quell the insurgency have been met with allegations of human rights abuses, including extrajudicial killings, torture, kidnappings, and arbitrary abduction. Given the history of violence and mistrust, it's little wonder that Ambazonians are choosing to keep a low profile amidst the current unrest. The La Republique du Cameroun's government track record of handling dissent has raised concerns about its willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue, leading many to question the potential outcomes of any negotiation. As the situation continues to unfold, one thing is certain: the people of Ambazonia, in particular, deserves a peaceful and sustainable resolution to the crisis. The world must take note of the escalating violence and human rights abuses and push for a negotiated settlement that addresses the legitimate concerns of all parties involved. All of these crises has been there, but this has come to another an intense rise because of the elections. Now, there are so many things happening in these elections, the elections that has passed, and while people are waiting for the result of who they're selected, depending on the word that would fit the situation right now, would be. We all know that in some parts of Ambazonians, people didn't vote. We had images to show for it. But then people are eager to know who will be called the president. People are eager to know. So many violence happening here and there, so many threats, warnings coming in from different angles. Now, there is this video that we just saw a few minutes ago where people in Yaoundé are trying to speak the kind of pidgin that Ambazonians speak. What are they trying to do? Why are they going through that route? They're trying to convince Ambazonians that they are one people. Let's see that video, and then Barrister Mbeseha will come back to you. And then we'll just talk about how the so-called selection has heightened the insecurities for both Ambazonians and even the French Cameroons.
C'est chaud, c'est chaud, c'est chaud. Si, non, mieux. Le message va faire fort, mieux.
Carrefour parcours vita, Mami Wata. Mami Wata, venez voir. Mami Wata parcours vita.
C'est là. Ah bon. La police est
Les policiers sont sortis. Maman, le petit là n'a même pas peur.
We didn't get that exact video, but we'll definitely get it and play it in time. But Barrister Mbeseha, the political tension has been very dramatic recently. What would you say about this?
The political tensions are there. But I've always said on these programs that the Republic has the government it deserves. If they want change, they will get the change. Why are they now in the streets? What is going on happening now? It has been due, I think, to the century or decades of dormancy, inaction, under pressure, inaction over injustice. They kept quiet. And close to 10 years when the Ambazonian crisis started, we had no sympathy from any of them. Their pains, our pain did not mean anything to them. At the very least, what a mockery, they mocked us collectively and called us cockroaches, dogs, and Ambazonians in their country. Now, to be testing what actually yes. They are now on their own, trying to fight against an injustice that they have helped to create over the decades. As early as this morning, a number of people called me from Yaoundé and Douala, Ambazonians who had escaped there, and they were packing out. They were saying, we're going back to Bamenda, we're going back to Boya. We better go to our own hair than die in someone else's hair. And so they have sensed the truth. Some of these people are the ones who have supported the regime forever there. But now they are seeing it with their own eyes. But what is noticeable is what you find. They are trying to calm an unrest, a civil unrest. And what they are doing is what's supposed to be done. They are spreading tear gas and water cannons. That cannot by itself kill anybody. Now, if you came to southern Cameroun, where you will see them shooting us and killing with live bullets. That is why we said no to them. Now they are testing the bitter truth. Let them fight for their own cause. We are observing them. Do we sympathize with them? We sympathize with them like human beings. But let any ambassador who gets involved there be careful with his or her own life. Because there's so much injustice in Cameroon. And above all, there's so much injustice to Ambazonians. They clearly wanted to show us which has not yet come. Why are they fighting to talk to Anglos, be it in Yaoundé and Douala? In terms of population, what is our percentage of representation there? Very minute. Why must they look for us? Why do they need our help to fight against their own oppression? They can fight their battles. For any Ambazonian who was there, the only advice I can is, if you cannot go back home, make sure you are safe. The crowds are so dark. The evening is unpredictable. So stay safe. Better stay if you can. The signs are is coming. We're on the way. It takes just a few days, a few months. And again, let them fight for their government. Let them fight for what they deserve. If they have now realized that they've been cheated for decades, if not centuries, so be it. There comes a time when people will say, enough is enough. And if they are so sad, we'll say congratulations for that. Just like we congratulated the Palestinians for standing up, or any oppressed people in the world. And so, again, Ambazonians, be careful with yourself. I'm sure if you went there, it was because you wanted safety. But rather than being safe there, you have found injustice. That cannot be accounted for. You have learned the lesson that if you must fight, you have to fight for your own. If you must die, and be buried. It's better to be buried in your own hair, if it means going to hell, than going to a foreign hair. And so the signs are there, the danger is real. Let them fight. Ambazonians who are there and who are neighbors, be careful with your own lives. Over to you.
Macondre people, Anglophone people, I want to tell you, say, he don't bat. That when I don't go vote, when I say na Isa Chiruma, he go join we all, and together we fix any problem where it is for country. And now we don't take, you say, we all will say na Isa Chiruma. Now, that people where they dey for Yaoundé, that people where they dey like a Araka, they don't sit up on top all vote. They say, Nandem go decide say, Paul Biya and Chantal Biya wuti Njumba, Ngongo. Nandem go continue control we country. If you will play, we don't die. Now the thing I want to tell you, I say, make any man, he must turn up fine for sake of say, no 1 day and a half will not figure say, DPP continue for tip all money. They don't tip all money for kerosene where they come all for Limbe. That kerosene where they come all for Limbe. Now, be there for power 43 years this. It don't build wati, usa road, usa water, usa electricity. That money for petrol for Limben and the money is inside from their pocket. Where the same petrol where is there for Donso, now you go for Guinea Equatorial. When I go see how Obiangema don't build country. Now that Poblia, it don't come for one man country. It don't give them petrol for Yo-Yo and Yolanda where they just discover where it could change life for all Cameroun for 100 years. Now it don't come give them. Now, you know one go, it in Gangang, say, na for try, it die. Now here one tell when I say, I know you are courage. And all Cameroonian, wait for North, for South, everyone, young people, wanna be ready. We will shoot them pepper.
Barrister Mbeseha, does that pidgin sound like what an Ambazonian would speak?
No, that guy is addressing Ambazonians. Whether his pidgin is even from Japan, is granted. Order. There is such a wrong president.
Seems like your audio is lagging behind, Barrister.
You're not getting me?
Yeah, I wasn't, but I think it's clearer now. Go ahead, please.
I was saying that a few weeks ago, we complained that they were closing down Sonara in Limbe and taking it to Kribi. We never saw that brother, whoever. We never saw any of them come to support us. We complained for years that they were taking oil from Kribi, from Dian, refining it in Victoria, taking the proceeds while they never had even a road. Nobody raised their hand to support us. So our grievances are there. They have been there for decades and decades. And we're not silent, we cried. We saw no sympathy from them. If you think that is what will help them, convince us to join them to fight their own battles, they are free to say what they want to say. But what if Mr. Chiruma comes to power and decides to build the same, for example, money where it comes from? What should the Ambazonians do? We have no tool to fight injustice. But now, they realize that what we have been saying is truth. If that is what they want to fight for, that is their cup of tea. Again, Ambazonians have a big role as to whether Mr. Chiroma becomes president or Paul Biya becomes president. Our vote portion is so small in the fair elections, almost negligible. And so, but it is good, absolutely good, that now they realize the importance of Anglophones. They are now appealing to Anglophones to help them fight their own battles. If the Anglophone wants to go help them, that's your own risk. But, again, as I said in the last segment, you people have the government you deserve. The day you be sufficiently angry, Paul Biya will leave it today. He will not even go to invoke Maka. He will be looking for a way to escape out of that country if you are sufficiently angry with what he is doing. But as long as you are surrounded by thieves from Vokmaka, from Eboliva, from Betua, from across the country, who make from the people and let you suffer, take away Paul Biya. If you don't take away the Ngongos, if you don't take away the Atanganjis and the Philomonians of that circle, you have not won any independence. So fight the battle. You now realize what it is. What we meant in 1990 by multi-party election. What we meant by democracy when Fru won the elections and you cheated him. You know the importance of fighting for those things. Kudos to you people. It's better late than never. At least you're coming back to realize that you deserve some freedom. But freedom is not just to be, will not just be fought by talking. You have to fight and fight. And if possible, give of your own blood. Because the tyrants only understand, all tyranny understands only violence. Talking is not going to solve the problem. Phobia is there. It's maintained by the police force. It's maintained by the gendarme and the bee. Those are physical force. They have the arms. And you only pull them down where you can show that if they kill one of you, you kill two of theirs. If they kill two of theirs, you kill five of you. It is the blood of the blood of the tyrant that will water the fruit of liberty. And so, congratulations to you. Ambazonians who have heard you have heard you. But you long know that as this government is concerned, your fight is your fight. We sympathize with what you have said all the time. The election was your election. We sympathize with you whatever results you get. But we encourage you to fight for what it true is really yours. Ambazonians, as I've said a few minutes ago, everyone is better. For you will not be declared a hero if you win in Douala. You will not be a hero if the battle in Yaoundé. Nobody will recognize you because they don't recognize members of their own country. And I remember saying it some months back. It's Douala, where at the beginning of the 2016 Ambazonian crisis, they pulled down the statue of Fons somewhere in Douala and dragged it in the mud to show that you're not one of them. We are not one of them. Fons was a representative of the pulled down his statue. Name one by their name us. Zero. So, sorry for you. May God help you win your battle. Over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. Now, in a very surprising display of allegiance, a group of traditional rulers recently convened in Yaoundé to express support for the country's long-serving President, Paul Biya. This show of solidarity has drawn sharp criticisms from segments of the public, particularly young citizens and activists from Ambazonia who views the move as a betrayal of traditional values and a disregard for the nation's political stagnation. The gathering, perceived by many as politically motivated, comes in a time when growing unrest and calls for change in a country where a single individual has held the presidency for decades. Critics argue that the Fons and chiefs, once seen as custodians of their communities, have abandoned their traditional roles, relocating from their native palaces to government-sponsored residence in their capital. Youths, many of whom have never known another head of state, have expressed frustration over calls for calm and restraint. Now, they contrast their experience with that of their peers in other democracies, such as the United States, where leadership turnover is more frequent and political accountability more robust. Now, the involvement of traditional authorities in political affairs has raised questions about their independence, with observers speculating whether the press conference was genuine or orchestrated. Their visible alignment with state power, some argue, undermines their credibility and erodes trust amongst the population they claim to represent. As tensions simmer, the symbolic role of traditional rulers and their relevance in today's political climate remains a topic of heated debate that I'm sure that Barrister Mbeseha would want to speak on. But first, let's hear what they actually said.
We have observed that the peace, the serenity that reigned prior to the elections seemed to be threatened immediately after the elections, because a candidate has come out to proclaim that he has won the election, which means he's already going out of the established rules put down by electoral code. This conduct has threatened the peace of this nation. It is in this light that the traditional rulers are calling for restraint. People should be patient. Let the structures that have been put in place to handle presidential elections finish their work. After the proclamation, we are still pleading to your consciences not to take to the streets, especially the young people. When politicians are doing their political deals, young people are never involved. But when it's time for violence, that is when you are useful. Please don't allow yourself to be used. Don't be manipulated.
Barrister Mbeseha.
I don't know where to start. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the gods will punish me when I insult these people, because they're supposed to represent something, but they represent nothing. Who are those people sitting there and talking? That particular guy, those are traditional beggars, not traditional rulers. Nobody, they are thieves. Let me call it by its own name. That gentleman talking is from Bamenda, from the northern zone, I guess. And there they have something they call House of Chiefs that was given to them by Mr. Paul Biya. The question you want to ask that guy is complaining about elections. Where were they when ballot boxes were stuffed? In Kambe, in Banso, in Batibu. Where was this idiot sitting here and talking? Can you consider a traditional ruler? Can you tell us for sure that he's straight from Bamenda if he's even in Bamenda? Is not sponsored and paid by someone. Will you go back empty-handed? These are traditional thieves. They are not traditional rulers. You see one of them there shaking a broom. A broom in that traditional culture meant that they could sweep the dead. They could wipe away evil from the community. Can that guy with that broom wipe out the evil that has been brought on his own people by the very government they are pretending to protect? These people must be traditional idiots. If they don't know nothing, they should know that at the very least, to embellish, Issa Chiroma understands the Cameroon law more than them, 10 times more than them. If they don't know, to the best of my knowledge, Issa Chiroma has been 3-4 times their ages, so he knows what he's doing. Issa Chiroma, no law prevents him from saying that he won the elections if he has the figures. Issa Chiroma has not proclaimed any results of any elections. He has simply said from the data that he has, he believes he won the election. So where is this distortion? Where was this traditional leader or his friends and colleagues when a traditional leader stood in Kumba there and said they're giving people money? If they don't vote their money, they worked in the CDC. If they don't vote for the CPDM, They are thieves. Does you know what a thief means? A thief is somebody who goes to prison. If this guy stands out there to say he's talking, whoever they are, he's just talking on behalf of his colleagues, the collective beggars who were paid to come to Yaoundé and do that. You don't have the feeling, you say when you do your deeds, the youths are not there. That's a fact. When you took the money to come to Yaoundé, when you took the money to make that script, how many youths did you consult? 0 youth. So you are yourself an intellectual criminal turned into a traditional chief. You are a symbolic part of it. You are just a symbol of the rest. When I say you are an idiot, I'm not talking to you alone. All those who fall alongside with you, you are idiots. Since when did politicians learn to choose presidential candidates? By the tradition. And so if tomorrow, by good luck, or by Issa Chiroma becomes the president, what do? You leave your palace and run away? Because he has defeated Paul Biya? A shameless attitude. That's not what tradition was designed for. That's not what leadership in the cultural aspect was designed for. It was not designed for you to move to it today. Come to Yaoundé and dance, shake your brooms, pay money, and you go back home. If you're told go back home. Our understanding of you are living in Yaoundé or somewhere in Douala. And so it is shameless. I think this thing, it is so annoying. I started by saying I think God will even punish me if he can for insulting these idiots who travel around in traditional regalia, calling themselves chiefs. They are chiefs over nobody. They are Fons under nobody. They are there for themselves. For in those olden days, a chief will have 5 to 10, 20, even 100 wives. For how many of his wives does that guy speak? For how many of his wives or children does he vote? He votes for his stomach. If you are from the family like the one who said that in Kumba, the protected family of the founder of Kumba, who benefits from the presidency and the gifts, well, you are the best chief, you are the best family. Shame unto you all. I wish I had the opportunity to punish you. I don't have. But I can only pray for this. If the gods still live, to pour vengeance on you and make sure that you are decimated eternally, word of modern history. You are shameless. You represent nobody. Your parents didn't represent what you are doing. You are a thief. You are a traditional beggar. You are a traditional sellout. And that's what it is. I'm saying you with my face open. If you see me in your palace coming to beg, drive me away. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Barrister. That's not even all that there is to this political drama and awaiting election results. Gabriel Libby and Joshua Osi seem to be having a whole lot of confusion as no one understands what is driving their decisions. So when their exit polls showed Issa Chiroma was leading across the entire country, they hurriedly submitted appeals at the Constitutional Court, calling on the court to partially annul the results on claim of irregularities and fraud. When it became clear that Chiroma was winning and decided it wasn't appealing the court, first, Gabriel Libby withdrew in appeal, now followed by Joshua Osi of the SDF. It should be noted that both individuals claim to have fielded and founded representatives in almost all the political stations across the country. But till this date, they have not released a single police station report to either dispute or justify citizens' reports being released by different organizations. The question is, are they withdrawing their appeals because they have now found no irregularities, or are they withdrawing their appeals to pave the way for CC to declare the result unchallenged? Why have they withdrawn the appeals now? Are they, or are any deals being made behind the corners? Because, elections and results, we hear a lot of appeals are being made behind the corners. Some persons are being given little to hold on to and rest their cases here and there. Various basis. There are so many what ifs, what are, and so many things happening here. Saturday we tried to bring up a whole lot of issues surrounding this, and today we are still wondering what is happening. What would you think is happening here?
What is happening here to political analysts is just outright fraud. Cabral Libi and Joshua Osei, they are not new people on the political scene of Cameroon. Joshua Osei succeeded Nifrundi. They have been in the SDF forever. Joshua Osei knows from day one when he got into the race, he knew that he was never going to win. He knew that there was no path for the SDF to win elections, presidential elections, even though he claims that he had people to cover all the polling stations. Even if you have people to cover the polling station twice over, that was not going to transform into victory because he has lost, the SDF has lost the grounds over the past 10, 15, 20 years. He knew he was not going to win. So to Cabral Libi, he knew that they were not going to win. And so in order to maintain and get money for themselves, because in Cameroon politics, once you are nominated, when you are qualified, they pay you cash from the treasury. It's not bribe, they give you cash. So they wanted to get this money for themselves, and they have gotten the money. That's just all. They knew they were not going to win. That's why they refused to enter into any alliance, into any coalition with any other person. Because if you enter into a coalition, it will mean that you are renouncing your own candidature. And therefore, it will not give you the money that you're supposed to be given to you from the treasury, because you're no longer running for elections. That's the basic thing. And so they knew they were not going to win, but they had to remain there for the financial interest that, Cabral Libi with his Zega, whatever small division comes from there, could not win even a region. He knows that. That's a fact. It's not history. If he ever read anything in the state, I think he knows. Joshua knows that. He is in parliament because he has some small people in Douala there that have kept to his promise in Douala. He cannot even win 10 votes, even based on the fraudulent polling that has come out. How many votes have been attributed to OC in his native India? Almost zero. So these people are just gangsters. They are political pretenders. They are political thieves who don't want change. They want money for their stomachs. They want money for their bellies. And so the victory of Issa Chiroma is not going to be dependent on what Joshua Osei or Cabral Libi do. To me, I call them political adventurers who went into the game essentially just the game. And they've gotten the money, directly or indirectly. They are being paid. They do not admit by the administration. They cannot admit that. They have received money officially from the administration, from the treasury, to run for presidential elections. Which money, if they withdraw and join someone else, they will not get money. That's on the public records. So what else are they saying? They are access to what is going on right now. Because had they agreed to join the coalition, would anybody call it at the time with Chiroma, the victory would have been so overwhelming that the CPDM will not have any way to manipulate what they are doing now. But they refused. They had the CPDM to do what they have done. They were party to the orchestration. They are still parties to it right now. And so Joshua Osei, they are political adventurers. They are political criminals who, in a rare democracy, should be punished. It's not a question of opinion now. It's a question of political machination, which is fraud. And so these people are irrelevant in politics. They are irrelevant in any, but the importance is that they have been used. They have been used to fraud. They can no longer petition. But what were they even petitioning about? If there was any fraud, for example, it was not a fraud against OC. Nobody cheated him because he had nothing to be cheated. If there was any fraud, it was not a fraud against Cabral Libi, because he had nothing to be cheated of. He had nothing. The cheating alleged is against Issa Chiruma, not Cabral Libi. So what are they going to return the National Council that they cheated Joshua Issa Chiruma? No. They had no reason even to fight because they lost nothing. They had nothing. They lost nothing. And so they are foreigners, gymnasts, working gymnastics, playing with the lives of their own. As I said, the time when people will kick out these people, dead or alive, for what they have done to the nation, for what they have done to their own communities. They are political criminals who deserve to be swept out of the scene, deserve to be dumped into the ocean, and to drown politically once and for all. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. There is also this audio we got from Madam Patience Abiedu. Saturday was very significant for Ambazonians in the draft for reinforcement. And, you know, as special as she is, she appreciated a whole lot of special people. So let's get that. I will definitely be right back. Barrister Mbeseha, tonight, you will stay with us till the end of the news. There is this report from the foreign angle about Trump having interest in Africa and some other strategic moves there. We definitely want you to share in that conversation. So we plead that you stay with us till the very end of tonight's news bulletin. But first, let's get this audio from Patience.
My brothers and sisters, parents, children, fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, Nama Patience Abiedu, the Secretary of State for Women's Services. It don't stay where I come talk, but today I think that I own a very big message. First of all, thank everyone who take part in celebrating October 1st. That was a very big day for us, and we appreciate all of you. I also want to thank everyone observe the lockdown where the government be set them up during this La République or French Cameroun their elections. So the meaning for that na say because we be really respect that lockdown, the person where he win or he no win, he no get anything to do with us. I want to remind when I say for September on 2017, when I be all come outside plenty for denounce or for vex because La République or French Cameroun day for we land. And also for October 1st, our government be come out. At that time, the President Siseko be there for office. Come out for use the word they say restore, for bring back with government. The government way it be end with Endele, Joa and Foncha. They bring them back for that October 1st, 2017. I want also remind when I say after that, BRB bring war against we people them for November 30th of that same year. It burn plenty of our villages them. It make plenty of our family and friends run from their homes so they go for different country them. Someone them plenty that they live now for inside La République land. Someone they for we land or we own land but they be displaced because they not go back for their own homeland because they don't burn them or they not get opportunities for them. I want also remind say we get plenty people where they don't die. More than 60,000 people they don't die. They still die every day. We girl picking them, even some women boy picking them, La République and the army them, they rape this picking them. Even with mommy them, they do rape them. All these plenty bad things where they not happen for we people them. We get for always remember, say, come sun, come rain. We not be one people with these people them again. The reason why I make this audio, this particular time for history, now say, me wanna be strong, me wanna be focused, because we President Sako, and the people that were there for a cabinet where they work with all the county and LGA chair people that were there for ethics commission, the people that were there for the legal office, people that were there for house assembly, everybody will get some authority for a government. They all be together. We are no mind for the one where they don't come out, because all along, people that they come out for wayside, some people that they wanna be know them strong for this way struggle. They don't come out. They don't abandon ship. They don't form their own group. They not be important when I forget about them. When I just be strong under President Sako. But my final message, who I really come for talk to them, I say, it no matter what happen for French Cameroun. It no matter who they elect or they select. It no matter what the fight where they go on. Una stay away from it. Very, very important to una stay away from it. Una not get involved. May they not entice una say una can't join them fight because things could be better for una. It not go ever be better as long as we be part of them. Una know why? Because for 1959, France began the agreement with La République of French Cameroun. Say they go be control. They could be the person with people the way they control their land, their legal system, their educational system, their social system, their money, their resources, all that kind of thing. Them it be under France control. So me wanna not be fooled. Me wanna continue for stay for house with president they work day in day out. So that one day we go sit down for table, decide with La République or French Cameroun how we go separate. What they go do for pay for all the bad things where they don't do for us. Because in the long run, what go be important for us. Now say we go get total control for we land. And me I want to remind when I say we government be get some meeting at the end of September where they be call Ambazonia Stakeholders Constituent Assembly. Or I think the Ambazonian Strategic Constituent Assembly. ASCA. For that meeting, they will get some important resolutions them or some important news where they go declare. Say we go also start planning how we go build with country. So they don't already plan these policies them way it go help build with country. So when I no fear. So my important message to them I say Mona stay home. Mona not take any part for what it happen for La République of French Cameroun. Even if they come from our own territory, for one convince una stay away from any protest, anything, okay? All right. I thank una plenty. Man, don't make this message too long. Thank una plenty. God bless una all.
All right, thank you so much. Barrister Mbeseha, would you want to say something about that?
Yes, I think this is the proper one for me to say something. You see, Madam has said is a summary of why we should stay away. He started by what happened when we declared our restoration. We declared the restoration by word of mouth. We did not go down to drive away their administrators who were sitting in Ambazonia, in wherever they are. They are still there. Not hurt anyone. We did nothing to anybody. What was the action? She reminds us, they attacked you, they raped you, they burnt down your houses, they raped your wife, your mothers, everybody, they killed you, and you fled for safety. For just saying something with the mouth. You did nothing to hurt anybody. And now it has come to them. They have their elections, which have been fraudulent by their own imagination. And few of them go out to demonstrate. Well, a few or many. What have they done? They burnt down a courthouse in Amba. They burnt down police vehicles in Douala. We have not seen them react in the same way. They have not even as much as arrest anybody for doing what they did. Compare what happened to us for just talking. We were shot and killed. Our villages were leveled. Is this a country we call one? No. One country, two standards is not what we want to belong to. It ends up by saying, if you want to come and demonstrate, if you want to come to your place and demonstrate with you, stay out of it. Let them fight their own battles. For we have seen enough of what they can do. We have seen of what they are doing even presently. If somebody went out in Bamenda or Boya to demonstrate just in the street, the reaction will be very, very different. They will shoot and kill you. Compared to what happened in Chang, to what happened in Douala, to what happened in Garawa. The soldiers were all there, they were armed. Their police vans were there, they arrested nobody, they shot nobody, they killed nobody. Why should you fight for the independence? Why should you fight for their own freedom? We don't belong. Let them fix their house and be good neighbors. I think the message is very, 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 very interesting. It's a reminder of history. It's a reminder of where we come from and for what we stand. What joined these people by mistake, thinking that we're going to be brothers and sisters, thinking that we're going to be wives and husbands. No. They have said no. They're the ones who said no to us. Because no husband beats a wife out of the house, drive her into the bush, and go there to kill her with her children. It doesn't happen like that. If it happens like that, then it was never a marriage. No wife leaves the husband's house and says the marriage is over, then goes around to cook food and poison it and send to that husband to kill her and the siblings that they had. If she does that, it was never a marriage. It was something else. And so be careful, Ambazonians. Don't join these people in whatever thing they have as their protest. Their problem is theirs. It will be solved their own way. If you join it, you become a victim. You'll be caught in the circumstances that did not need to involve you. For now, she says, let us concentrate on our freedom. Let us concentrate on our own liberation, which is what is dear to us. Because, after all, everything said and done, we shall prevail. We shall build what has been destroyed. We shall be able to survive only if we remain strong. I think that's what I get from her message. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, when we return from this very, very short break, we'll head into the African news where we'll talk about Namibia confirming their first Mpox case. And of course, you know, this has been around the African countries. Well, Namibia has entered a state of heightened alert following the confirmation of its first Mpox case identified in the coastal town of Swakopmund. The patient who tested positive on October 18 is currently in stable condition and is being treated in isolation at the Swakopmund District Hospital. In accordance with World Health Organization guidelines, the Namibian government has declared an official outbreak under WHO protocol. Even a single confirmed case of Mpox warrants such a declaration to ensure a swift and coordinated public health response. Preliminary findings suggest the infection may be linked to cross-border movements within the southern African areas. Health teams in Orongo region have initiated contact tracing efforts and are closely monitoring potential secondary cases. The Ministry of Health has moved quickly to reassure the public, emphasizing that the country has the necessary infrastructure and protocols in place to handle the situation. Isolation facilities are reportedly well equipped to manage suspected cases and prevent further spread. Mpox, a viral disease related to smallpox, is known to spread through close physical contact, exposure to respiratory droplets, or through contaminated objects. It typically presents with flu-like symptoms such as fever and swollen lymph node, followed by a characteristic rash with fluid-filled blisters. This development places Namibia among a growing list of African nations currently grappling with Mpox outbreaks. 17 countries across the continent, including Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, are actively reporting new cases. So far in 2025, Africa has recorded over 118,000 Mpox cases, already surpassing the total reported throughout the previous years. As Namibia joins regional efforts to contain the virus, public health authorities are urging vigilance and cooperation to mitigate the risks of wider transmission. Barrister Mbeseha, this says that about 17 countries are already struggling with Mpox, and we are seeing the protocols and the cautious signs and the developments that Namibia is taking to prevent, to control this disease in their own country. If this Mpox gets into the Cameroun with the poor state of health facilities, poor state of hospitals, poor everything when it comes to health issues. Very poor. Hospitals are not even functioning so well. Do you think that they'll be able to contain the disease like other African countries have been doing? You can, if you listen, you also realize that even the DRC have reports about this, and they've been able to contain it so far. When it gets into the Cameroons, what do you think will happen?
Well, what we can do, let me tell you what we can do. I don't want to tell what will happen. What we should be doing right now, for those people, our bishops, our archbishops, our pastors, let them go in prayer. Let them pray. That thing should not cross or can include Ambazonia. Because it's going to be death. Cameroon does not prepare for any such eventualities. They will pray that it should come to Cameroon. If the government is there, they would want it to come there. Why? Because they use the opportunity to beg for money and steal it. That's their style. COVID-19 is so far away. When COVID-19 hit the world, Cameroon, money awash to fight COVID-19. Cameroon money and stole it. They shared among the ministers and they pretended some faiths for when the Cameroon, they printed and put there in Cameroon to steal the money. We can only pray the will of God, this thing should not reach, because this is choice of my unit will come to Ambazonia. And even in terms of health, Ambazonia in the that is from Victoria to Cambe, they are the least developed in terms of health provision. They have nothing to prevent themselves to fight things. Absolutely nothing other than name. If you go to Victoria regional hospital, there's nothing. You go to Boy, find out one regional hospital and next, there's absolutely nothing, there's not even a bandage. And so on and so forth. Talk less of villages like Bang, the BLM, and so on, the will just die. I only pray that the thing should not come. Because the government, our own government, everything being equal, they will only pray that it should come. Because that will give them the opportunity to steal money. Whatever money, if it is a contribution from your own personal family to come and help you, you will pay twice in the hospital. Even when you are dead, they don't want to surrender your dead body until you pay. And so, again, we're not good lucky enough. We have so many pastors, we have so many bishops, archbishops. We should pray that the thing should not enter us. Because God at least is kind into our prayers. We cannot contain any such disaster. Government has never prepared for it, will not prepare for it now. If they give money to prepare for such things, the money will end up in their pockets. Why? Because if it affected the president, his wife, their children, or ministers, they are going to be flown abroad. There's money, and they will receive the best treatment until they come back home. I mean, of the children died in the COVID-19, I think 0. After they stole the money, they will attack, they use the money to send them abroad. That is what it is. We pray the Almighty never to allow such things even to get near our own boundaries. Because illness, sickness, disasters have a line. They cross everywhere. Over to you.
All right. And when we return from this very short break again, we'll head into the report of Trump eyeing strategic expansion of U.S. influence in Africa amidst the China-Russia competition. Well, President Donald Trump is signaling a renewed focus on Africa as his administration seeks to expand U.S. influence across the continent and counter China's and Russia's growing presence in trade, technology, and resource extraction. Although Washington's engagement in Africa has long lagged behind Beijing's extensive investment and Moscow's recent security ventures, Trump's transactional approach to diplomacy could mark a shift. Analysts say the continent's vast reserves of critical minerals, youthful population, and emerging markets makes it an increasingly vital geopolitical arena. Africa hosts more than 1.5 billion people and holds about 30% of the world's critical mineral reserves. Yet, U.S. imports of these resources remains limited, with China dominating 85% of global rare earth processing and maintaining a $240 billion trade relationship with African states, far exceeding America's $47 billion. Trump's recent mediation in the Democratic Republic of Congo Rwanda conflict highlighted Washington's renewed interest in regional peace building and resource cooperation. Experts argue that sustaining such initiatives will require a more consistent and comprehensive U.S. Africa policy framework. Meanwhile, Landry Sen, a fellow at Stanford University and the Brookings Institution, noted that U.S. policy in Africa typically revolves around power, prosperity, peace, and principles. But Trump's focus has been mainly on power and prosperity. He said a balanced strategy should support U.S. companies, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, to invest in Africa's rapidly growing economies while strengthening what is called regional trade. Projects such as the U.S.-backed Lobito Corridor, a proposed 800-mile railway linking Angola's port to mineral-rich Zambia, and the DRCs reflect Washington's growing interest in infrastructure partnership that could bolster supply chains and reduce China's dominance. Former U.S. Special Envoy to the Sahel and Great Lakes region, P.J. Pham, said expanding America's investment in Africa's mining and processing sector is vital for securing critical resources and diversifying global supply chain. He emphasized that Western companies' governance and environmental standards could benefit African economies more sustainably than China's state-led model. Russia, meanwhile, has sought to revive Soviet-era alliances, deploying its rebranded African cause across several nations following coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Moscow's growing security influence has coincided with France's waning presence in its former colonies. Despite this competition, analysts suggest China's economic slowdown and Russia's limited military reach present an opening for Washington. Pham noted that a well-defined U.S. strategy could advance both African development and Trump's brother Make America Great Again agenda by securing critical partnership. Ebenezer Obadere, Senior Fellow for Africa Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations, said the key challenge for Washington is differentiating its approach from those of China and Russia. He warned that the administration's Africa policy remains underdeveloped and disconnected from broader U.S. foreign policy goals, particularly the earlier Prosper Africa initiatives. As tensions escalate between Washington and Beijing over mineral supply and exchange and semiconductor access, Africa's role as a key player in the global economy continues to grow. Beijing recently tightened export controls on rare earth elements, heightening the strategic stakes for both powers. African voices also see opportunity in Trump's approach. President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, President Samuel Ikomensaku, described the administration's direct deal-based policy as a breath of fresh air, arguing that it could finally bring Africa into equal partnerships rather than ideological alignment. Analysts argue that the U.S. must act quickly to secure mutually beneficial ties with African nations, leveraging trade, technology, and education partnerships to counterbalance Beijing and Moscow advances. With Africa's young population, growing digital ecosystem, and abundant resources, experts say the continent's future and the world's next major power contest will likely be decided there. Barrister Mbeseha.
There's a lot to pack into that stuff because, what Trump is saying, American interest under Trump, is so well explained. But let us take an example. If the American government undertakes to build a railway line from Kinshasa to Lusaka or to Nairobi, if it starts tomorrow, that railway line will not be there. By the time Trump leaves power in the next 2-3 years, it will not still be there. And so that poses a problem. The problem is with what they call African government. There's nothing like African youths. African youths are there, but they are distributed in different spaces called countries, called governments, most of whom are very corrupt and so inefficient. Yes, they are exploiting our resources. As we speak right now, the Chinese are exploiting gold in the eastern province, a lot of gold. And they are paying some dues. What has the government of Cameroun to show in the eastern province, eastern region, for the gold being exploited by the Chinese? There's no road there. There's no water for people to drink. There's no electricity. Would the Chinese come there and dig roads with the money they give you? Would they come there and put electricity? They would not. The regime is so corrupt that it has no meaning. I remember a number of years back when I think Issa Chiroma was still the Minister of Transport. They went and bought some train, whatever thing, to fly between Douala and Yaoundé from China. That thing had an accident, everything scattered. People, as we speak, the victims of that accident were never ever paid. Why? Because even any money came in, the government used it for this own private use. And so we have this chunk of bad governments, and most in particular, we're dealing with Cameroon. That has no meaning. We have the natural resources we talk about include timber. They include all these things. As far as Ambazonia is concerned, they have been exploiting timber from Mbeseha before the war started. Carried away the logs to the sea and stamped it from there. What did Manu ever see as a product of their natural resources? Zero. And so the partnership is very, very good, but it is even better if the governments that are entering into these contracts are responsible, which is what will take us even to the local party. We're talking about Chiroma, people fighting to say this is a wrong precedent. What they need to do, we target the wrong people. We're targeting foreigners first and leaving our own criminals in-house criminals. They'll be exploiting the resources. The French have been doing that forever. We should all agree the cooperation agreements were so bad. But what has the government even done with the little that is given to them from that small bad agreement? They did nothing. They stole the money. They continue to steal. The world, for example, Paul Biya spends all his life in Switzerland, in hotels there. The whole of Switzerland is not even as big as a northern zone. It's a very tiny place. And Paul Biya is happy to go in there, spend months, hire hotel rooms there, and it's a lot of money. This is corruption and inefficiency that must be handled locally. We appreciate what the Trump is saying. If they can counter it, after all, the world is the world of give and take. If the Americans come, we welcome them. We are Ambazonians. If the Russians come, we welcome them. If the Chinese come, we welcome them. We'll enter deals with them. That will serve our interests, not just the interests of the Americans, but the interests of the Chinese, so whatever they call it. That is what we are fighting. We are fighting to be an independent country in Africa with a difference. A country that will be, whose leaders will be held accountable. That will say, where are we going to? What are we getting in return? Say, where is the gold being mined that you're going to? Some of our resources. That's what for. Just this, the song of Americans coming, the Russians coming by itself, not help us. They're coming to meet God that have been corrupt forever. What has Paul Biya, for example, for his 50 years in power done? It is nothing short of him. They make this steal it. And so, and they are not willing to segment where some grounds are Yaoundé begging that they should let Paul Biya remain in power. And these young men who are called themselves Fons or chiefs, they are very young by every standard. And then they want to see this old man, 99 years old, rule them and continue to do what he's been doing for the past 50 years. Whose fault is it? Is it even the fault of Paul Biya? No. It's the fault of these idiots, call themselves youths. It's the fault of these professors who pontificate every day on social media. Oh, I'm professor this, I'm an analyst in this, begging for Paul Biya to be in power. That's just a glaring example. And so, what Trump is saying is what has been there. That politics, the Americans will never come and give you money. They come there because they have something to put. The Russians will not come and give you money. They will not come and do this. They come there because they want to do something for Russia. So to get the best deals out of whatever thing you're doing with a foreigner, out of whatever thing you're doing in another country, your best deals should be answerable to your own people. If you can no longer produce, kick them out. Because being blinded with this idea of Africa, there's nothing like Africa on the world market. On the world market, you have Cameroun, you have Nigeria, they are called by your name. They are called by your name. And so the general bloc, Africa is not going to help us. Because, for example, there's nothing they call an African bank. There's no African currency. There's no African army. There's nothing. And so, again, that's what we're fighting for. We believe very strongly that given the opportunity, Ambazonia is going to be ideal. We're going to have that expertise. We already have it. For the one that we don't have, we'll hire them and pay them the market value for the job done. They don't do it, you go away. 2 years ago or a year ago, they spent the whole time in Cameroun quarreling about coach guy to come coach football for so many billions. As if Cameroonian cannot coach that nonsense of kicking the ball into the goal. Why? Because negotiating those contracts come with kickbacks where they will steal money. And so, again, we like the Trump way. Let the markets be open to all. Let them petition for fair value. Let there be accountability by performance. Ambazonia will do something like that, which is why we think they belong to this jungle of thieves. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. It's been a full day with you tonight on Undaunted, and we're excited that you were able to extend your time to do all of the reports that we brought to the front burner tonight. Tomorrow is another day, and we expect to also have you here. But we sincerely appreciate your presence, and we do not take it for granted. It's at this juncture that we'll let you go.
Thank you.
All right, and that's it for tonight's Undaunted. But before we go, let's take a look at the stories that made it to the headlines. Tonight, we told you that there is clarification on the October 21st, no lockdown day. The President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikomesaku, has appointed new Vice President, Mr. Steve Neba-Fuh. Also tonight, we told you that tension in New Douala, Ambazonians become spectators amidst nationwide unrest in La République du Cameroun. Also tonight, we told you that Fons rally behind Longtime leaders, sparking outrage amongst youth and critics. Namibia confirms first Mpox case, declares outbreak amidst regional surge was on the African scene. On the global scene, we told you that Trump eyes strategic expansion of U.S. influence in Africa amidst China, Russia competition. That's it for tonight's Undaunted. On behalf of our in-house analyst, Barrister team based here and a team of technicians behind tonight's production, it's good night and God bless.